Okay, so how can you better deal with intimidating people, whether that be a co-worker or an intimidating boss? These kind of situations. How can you better deal with that? Well, I think one of the things that is going to help is to first of all realize that there is something within us that is, there is a button within us that is getting pressed. So when you go down that path, you start to take your power back, because the tendency is to complain about the other person and that other person, their behaviour, maybe real poor behaviour. I'm not saying that you have to condone their behaviour, but the tendency can be to complain, to judge that person, and then you go away and you talk to your friends, and then you sing about their behaviour, and they've done this and they've said that, and they're so bad, and and it doesn't. You're giving your power away when you do that, and you're playing out the role of victim when you do that. So, and if you are doing that and you've noticed yourself doing that, don't judge yourself for doing it. Okay, it is the ego reacts in this way by complaining, and it projects its insecurities onto the other person and makes the problem out there. Okay, so we want to take ownership of our experience. We are responsible for our emotional well-being. So that's the first step, is to think, hey, hang on a minute, what is it about me? What is the limiting belief I have about me or this situation or this person that is causing me to feel this way? Now, thinking intellectually about it may not help right away at taking the edge off the feeling. Now, if you're standing in front of your boss and your boss is going mad at you, you're unlikely to do the tapping technique, stood in front of your boss. I understand that. So, but if you can get away, say you've had an altercation with someone and you're flustered, your face is going red, and you're really angry, or you may feel disorientated and anxious, if you can get away to the bathroom, go into a cubicle somewhere, or just anywhere where you can be alone for just a few minutes, and just to think, right, okay, I'm really angry at this person, but they have triggered a program within me that is making my body react this way, and maybe a bit of adrenaline in your body. And then you do the tapping technique, I release and let go, I release and let go, and you can say stuff like, I release and let go of all feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, anger, feelings of no control, and everything else. I release and let go. Take a deep breath and say peace. You can say it in your head if there are people around in the bathroom and that. You can say it in your head. What you'll notice is after you've done a round, it will take the edge off the feeling, and you'll be able to go back into that situation, having taken ownership of your own response. We react. So we're moving away from being reactive beings to creative beings. And that's why it's called emotional freedom technique, because then you have the freedom from your own emotions, from freedom from your own internal dialogue. A lot of us may have been growing up having friends around us when we've complained about somebody did something, and then we complain about that person to our friends, and we may have had friends in the past that may have said things like, "Oh, don't let them get away with that. Are you gonna let them? Are you gonna let them talk to you like that? Don't let them get away with that." And they kind of support the drama. They stick up for the limiting emotions and egg you on, so to speak. So, and most of us will have grown up with things like that. Like, "Oh, are you gonna let them take the piss out of you like that?" And that kind of aggressive approach. Now, when you approach them kind of situations with that kind of aggression, you're only fanning the flames in the other person. That's all it's going to do. But what you want, what is more powerful, is to present that other person with a non-judgmental, forgiving mirror. We're all a mirror to each other. Our experience of another person is actually an experience of ourselves, because everything is filtered through the senses, through the ears, the eyes, the sound of a person's voice, whatever it is they're saying, whatever the subject matter is. Maybe we did something that they deem as being wrong. Then there's feelings of, maybe as a child, we always got upset when mum or dad felt like we'd done something wrong. So everything is being filtered through our belief system. So it's all in here. We want to take ownership of that. When we do that, we step into our power. We are never at the whim of other people's words, thoughts, and actions. We're no longer at the whim of the passing stranger in the street. The stranger in the street that looks at us in the wrong way, that looks at us in a way that we don't like. We don't react to outside stimulus of that kind because we've made peace with what's in here. So nothing can stir it up because we've made peace with it, and we don't necessarily judge that person. So you want to give that other person an experience of themselves that they've never had before. If you can react with humour with that other person, if you can do that, then that other person might think to themselves, "Oh, flipping heck, I'm being a real git, aren't I? I'm being so nasty to you. How can I be this way?" But if you fan the flames and you meet aggression with aggression, then you're just adding fuel to the fire, and their ego is going to enjoy that, because ego loves drama. The pain body feeds off of the pain. Now, self-esteem is going to come into it. If you're in a place of honouring your values and knowing what your values are, sometimes we don't always know what our values are, but when you're not living in alignment to your values, your self-esteem knows about it, and you don't feel powerful. You don't have a powerful relationship with yourself when you're not honouring your values. So finding out what your values are and then endeavouring to live in accordance with those values is going to have a huge impact on your self-esteem. You know who you are, you know where you are, where you've come from, you know where you're going. You know what your purpose is here on earth, and you know what your life's about, and it no longer matters to you what other people say or do, because at the end of the day, you know what your life is about. You know what you're here to do. You always have that to fall back on. Now, one of the things that I did, that when I realised that there were parts of my life where I was letting myself go unconscious, doing things that weren't healthy for my mind, my body, and weren't healthy for the other people around me. When I realised I was doing those things, I took it one step at a time. I said, hey, I'm a chemical human being, I have addictions, I'm not perfect, but this one thing, I'm going to keep this one thing clean. And I ain't going to let none of those thoughts come into this place. Because this one thing, I'm going to stand by my guns when it comes to this one thing. The rest of my life might be a mess. Yes, there may be other things about myself that I want to change, that I'm not doing, but this one thing, I ain't gonna let any of that come in here when it comes to that one thing. You always have that to fall back on, even if the rest of your life is really chaotic. And if you fall off the wagon, you don't judge yourself, you take what you learn from endeavouring to take that on, and you keep at it. You wipe the slate clean. This is why we're here, to master ourselves, to master the levels of reality. There's 7 levels to reality. And we're here for the joy of the experience, of experiencing this level, having mastery over the body, when you don't allow the flesh to have its way with you. And this kind of language, it can come across like I'm coming from a religious thou shalt not sin place. I ain't coming from that. The word sin simply means to miss the mark. In archery, when the arrow misses the target, it sins. So to sin just simply means that you're off target, that what you're doing, your behaviour, you know, it isn't going to take you to where we're all really striving to go, to great levels of joy, love, wisdom, understanding, compassion, peace. All those feelings, you know, when we're sinning, it's going to take us away from that. And so you're not judging yourself, you're just realizing that, you know, we all want to feel loved, we all want to feel accepted, and we're all very much striving for the same things. Although others are caught in the illusion of separateness, and really don't have empathy. But, you know, you can see that, you know, they are where they are playing out the illusion that they need to play out. They need to play out that illusion. There's no good trying to drag them out of that and putting them someplace else, because they haven't learned the wisdom of that yet. They need to be there right now to play it out however many lifetimes they need to play that out, until they get sick and bored of it and they start to ascend again. And you know, when they start to ascend, you know, we'll be there for them to show them, you know, the ropes, and they can learn from us. So just a few of my thoughts on that. Make peace with yourself. It's making peace with our stuff, so that our stuff, no one can stir it up. No one can like grab a wand and go like that in our stomach to stir our crap up, because we've made peace with it. So I hope that's helped, guys. Hope you got something out of that. I'm still learning, you know. I'm still learning about this whole thing, my understanding of these things intellectually, emotionally, and embodying the things that I'm talking about. I'm still learning. A lot of the times when I speak into the camera, I'm talking to myself as well. And doing this helps me to learn. So hope you got some out of that, guys, and I'll catch you later. Peace.